Hello students, in this video we are going to discuss about Wheatstone's bridge. This Wheatstone bridge is based on the Kirchhoff's law, and this Wheatstone bridge is an instrument used to compare the resistance and to find the unknown resistance. This Wheatstone bridge generally consists of 4 resistors. Anyone can be an unknown resistor, so that you can find, comparing all the 3 resistivity value, you can find the unknown resistance value, or else you can compare any 2 of the resistance, unknown resistance, and find the value. And this is the purpose of the Wheatstone bridge, and this is the model of the Wheatstone bridge. You can see here in the diagram, I have a battery of EMF psi connected to the connected in the Wheatstone bridge, a galvanometer G, which is to find the very small deflection of the current. This galvanometer is a device used to measure a very small amount of electric current passing in the circuit, and also to find the potential difference in the electrical circuit. So I have a galvanometer to find the current and voltage deflection in the circuit. I have 4 resistance, P, Q, R and S. And from the battery the current I is flowing out, and the direction of current at the junction point A is that this I at junction gets separated as I1 and I2. As the I1 flows in this direction from A to B, again from B to C, and then at this point, as the current gets divided, the I2 current will be flowing through A to D and from D to C as I4. And this I1 current also at junction B, you can see that it gets split into 2 as IG and I3. So this is what is the diagram of your Wheatstone's bridge, that is construction of your Wheatstone bridge. And going to as we have already told that this Wheatstone bridge works on the principle of Kirchhoff's law. So here I'm going to apply both the Kirchhoff's law. As you know, you have 2 rules for Kirchhoff's law, which is Kirchhoff's current law and Kirchhoff's voltage law. So first I'm going to apply Kirchhoff's current law. This Kirchhoff's current law always applies on the junction point, and you're going for finding the current entering into the junction and current leaving into the junction, right? So here I'm going to consider 2 junction points, which is junction B and junction D. So at junction B, how many current you have? You can see that the current at this point I1, IG and I3 are the 3 current values, and this I1 current is entering into the junction point, whereas IG and I3 are leaving out of the junction point. According to the law, what is the law? You have to sum up all the current at that junction point, and if the current enters into the junction point, you have to make it as positive, and if the current leaves out of the junction, it is negative. Okay, so I1 is positive, so I1, as it is leaving out, IG is leaving out, so it is minus IG, and minus I3 is equal to 0. So this is my Kirchhoff's current law for the junction point B. Next, for the junction point D. So see that for the junction point D, again you have I2, IG and I4. 3 points. You have 3 junctions, right? So 3 ways are meeting at this point, junction point D. So I2 is entering into the junction D. Again, this IG current is flowing like this. So this one also, IG is also entering into the junction point, whereas I4 is leaving out of the junction point. So here I2 entering into the junction point, so is plus I2. IG is entering into the junction point, so plus IG, whereas I4 is leaving out, so it is minus I4 equal to 0. So this is the application of current law for the junction points B and D. Let it be equation number 1 and 2. Next, I'm going to apply Kirchhoff's voltage rule for this case. of the Wheatstone bridge. In this, voltage rule is that you're going to add up the voltage. As we've already seen, you're not going to add up the voltage straight away. Instead, you're going to have voltage V equal to IR. So you're going to, instead of adding voltage, you're going to add up product of the current and resistance. IR you're going to add, and this voltage rule will be applied always for the loop. It should be a closed circuit. So first I'm going to consider one loop, which is ABDA. See, it is ABDA. Only this part of the circuit, which is a small part of closed loop, I'm going to consider. Okay, so this part alone I'm going to consider. In this, how I have to write? I have to go for current value, resistor value, plus current value, resistor value, plus current value, resistor value, which is equal to total EMF in this part of the circuit. So you can see that the EMF is connected for the entire loop and not for this particular block. So there is no EMF connected to this part of the circuit. Okay, so at this point I have three resistance, which is P is a resistance, R is a resistance. This galvanometer by itself is a high resistivity device, so it is also considered as a kind of resistance. So at this point I have I1P, that is, how you have to write is current into resistance. So current is I1, resistance is P. So I1P plus this part. So I'm starting from point A. The loop starts from point A and ends at point A. So I'm going to start with the point A. At this point I'm taking the, you have to consider the direction of current here, right? So I'm going to take the direction of I1 current now. So I1P plus current goes and enters into Ig. So it is in the same direction. So here current into resistance. So current is here, the current is Ig, resistance is galvanometer G. And now as it passes through the galvanometer, it should enter the resistance R like this. But you can see that the current is in the opposite direction to that of the actual flow should be. So when I take this part of resistance, I have to write it as I2 into R. As the direction is reversed, this is the actual direction it should be, but the current direction is reversed. So it should be minus I2R. Is that okay? So for the Kirchhoff's voltage rule, for that particular loop ABDA, it is I1P plus IgG minus I2R, which is equal to 0 because no EMF for this particular loop, it is not connected. So the next loop I am going to consider is the whole loop, that is A, B, C, D and A. A, B, C, D and A, all the four resistors all together. I'm going to consider not this J part. This one is not considered. Only this outer loop is considered. Okay. So again you're going to apply the voltage rule here, which is you have to write it as current into resistor plus current into resistor plus current into resistor. So you have 4 resistors and 4 current flowing through this loop. So let us go into the application of rule here. So again let me start from the point A. It is the current flows in this direction and I'm taking only the outer loop, right? So it should be this way here, and as it passes it should be this way here. As this passes, the current should be this way here again. This one is the flow, should be the actual flow of the current. Now we'll go in for the equation. So for this point, let me start here. It is I1 into P. Okay, I1 into P. And at this point, when the current enters into the other resistor, see the current direction should be this way and exactly it is on the same way. So it is, the direction is same. So it is plus current into resistor I3Q. Okay. Now when the actual flow of the current should be like this. But you can see that at the point D, the current is in the opposite direction to that of actual flow. So it should be minus for this case. And you have to write minus current into resistor. So it is minus I4 into S. Okay, and then as the current continues, it should be in this direction, but you can see that I2 is in the opposite direction for the flow. So again it should be minus current into resistor, which is I2 into R. So it is minus I2 into R. Again, for this entire circuit, total EMF is 0, which is my fourth equation. So at this point, when B and D junction are at same potential, that is no potential difference is across the point D and B, then no current will be flowing inside. If there is any potential difference, only that difference will pull the or push the current, so that current will be flowing. If it is at same potential, no current will be flowing. And you could have seen that in the diagram. Where is this B and D? It is like this, and in the middle you have the galvanometer. So if this potential is same, no current will be flowing in this path. That is, the current in the galvanometer will be 0. So Ig is equal to 0. Now I'm going to substitute this Ig equal to 0 in all the equation number 1, 2 and 3. So what is my first equation? Just applying current rule. It is I1 minus Ig minus I3 equal to 0. So when I substitute Ig equal to 0 here, in this part, instead of Ig, it is 0. So it is, this part becomes 0. So only this I1 and I3 will be remaining, which is I1 minus I3 equal to 0. As this part is minus, I am bringing this part to the right hand side. It becomes I1 equal to I3. Let this be equation number 5. Again, after applying for this Ig equal to 0 in equation 1, I am going to apply this in the equation number 2. Equation number 2 is again the current rule. For the next part, next junction D, it is I2 plus Ig minus I4 equal to 0. Again, this Ig becomes 0. So you have only I2 and I4. So I2 minus I4 is left over, which is equal to 0. Now bring this I4 to the right hand side, it becomes I2 equal to I4. This is my equation number 6. And the third equation is applying the voltage rule or loop rule for the small loop ABDA, right? So in that, I1P plus IGG minus I2R equal to 0. Now what I am going to do, instead of Ig, I am going to apply 0. If it is 0 here, 0 into anything is again 0. So this whole term becomes 0. So you have only two part left. I1P minus I2R equal to 0. Again, bring this to the right hand side. It becomes I1P equal to I2R, which is my equation number 7. Okay. Now we have rearranged all the three equations. The exact rule that includes all the four resistance in the Wheatstone bridge is the fourth equation. So finally I am going to take this fourth equation and substitute all this 5, 6 and 7 in this fourth equation now. Okay, so when you take 5 and 6 and substitute in this fourth equation, you can see that what it is, I1 equal to I3. So instead of I3, you can write again I1. Again, in sixth equation is I2 equal to I4. So instead of I4, that is, this 2 is same. You can write any one. So instead of I4, you are going to write it as I2. See, I1P as such, instead of I3 by equation 5, I am going to write it as I1. So I1 into Q minus, instead of I4, I am going to write it as I2. So I2 into S minus this I2 as such, I2R equal to 0. This one, as we did in all these cases, as if you have minus, you brought it to the right hand side, right? So these two terms are minus. So I am going to bring these two terms to the right hand side. Or else you can also say I1 term on one side, I2 term on the other side. Okay, so when I do that, it is I1P plus I1Q equal to I2S plus I2R. So in these two terms, I have I1 as common. So take it outside into P plus Q. Again, in these two terms, I have I2 as common. Take it outside. I2 into R plus S. So this is my equation number 8. Now I'm going to see, I have current into resistor equal to current into resistor. Here in the equation number 7 also I have current into resistor, current into resistor. So I am going to relate these two equations, that is divide the equation number 8 by equation number 7. So when I do that, it should be left hand side divided by left hand side and right hand side divided by right hand side. Okay, so it is I1 into P plus Q divided by I1P, which is equal to I2 R plus S divided by this right hand side I2 R. So in this I have I1 terms common, cancel it off. Again here I2 common, cancel it off. So the remaining part will be P plus Q by P equal to R plus S by R. So this is common denominator. You can separate it and write it as P by P plus Q by P, which is equal to R by R plus S by R. So P by P is P divided by P. 10 divided by 10, it is 1, right? So it is P divided by P is 1 plus this Q by P, which is equal to R by R is 1. So 1 plus S by R. Again, right hand side 1, 1 and left hand side 1. It can be cancelled off. Then the final thing would be Q by P equal to S by R. You can have it as such, or you can take inverse on both sides and write it as P by Q equal to R by S. So this is the final equation for your Wheatstone bridge. That is, now all the 4 resistors are compared in this way. That is, ratio of 2 resistors is equal to ratio of the opposite 2 resistors. Okay, if one of the resistors is not known, if R is not known, this one is taken as X, and all the 3 resistor value I know. If it is so, this one is what we have to find. This is the unknown resistor. Okay, let it be R itself or X. This is what is the unknown resistor. So what I have to do, all these 3 values I know. So bring have the R alone on one side and bring all the things to one side. If it is so, P by Q, if you bring this S to the other side, it becomes into S, which is equal to R. So in this way, dividing 2 value and multiplying with the third resistor value, you can find the unknown resistor value. This is the purpose of your Wheatstone bridge. I hope you have understood. Thank you.